Hi. I'm not gonna lie, this one went a little bit upside down following the news yesterday of Ruben Amorim's departure from Manchester United. I had a whole separate tactic preview, everything all set. Obviously, different managers, but this is the way it works at Manchester United. You never know on a given day what you're going to get. We can never just have a quiet day, can we? In any case, had to go ahead and redo it. A lot of new things to cover. Will interim boss Darren Fletcher bring back attacking football tomorrow? Can we expect to see some players back fit for the first team? Will Manchester United be the Grim Reaper for Scott Parker's Burnley career? We're exploring these questions and more today as we're going to preview Manchester United's trip to Turf Moor, where we will take on a scrappy Burnley side who, quite frankly, should be doing better than they're doing. Considering all the players they buy, I think they're like up there. I think it's them and Sunderland are the top two for most first team players brought in this summer. But it is what it is. But you guys know the drill by now. We're going to be talking tactics. We're going to be talking team news. We're going to be talking starting 11 and score predictions as well. And a little bit of news thrown in there too. So that's what you can expect now by the time. But if you've been around the channel for long enough, that's how we roll here on the match preview source. So this is United versus everybody. I'm your host, Sean. Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If this is your first time, it's awesome. Thank you. Nice to meet you. Don't be afraid to introduce yourself. Let us know where you're watching from. I like to meet everybody who joins the UVE community. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe. Let's get stuck in. But first, I got to check and see who's in the chat. Lucky Singh in the house. Big up. Already talking transfer news. We'll see. You never know when you get a whole manager shakeup. Clubs aren't usually eager to go ahead and lose a lot of players right off the bat. I hope that hope that the new structure that Ineos have supposedly come in with isn't dependent on who's in charge, and it's just as the train we're getting on. The manager is just a part of that, kind of like what we saw at Liverpool. Um, let's just keep on going, and that shouldn't deter anything. I hope, but I'm not getting my hopes up. But welcome back, Lucky. Hope you're doing well. Hope Dude's in the house. Danny V's in the house. Big up, Danny. Yes, please do hit that like button on your way in. I do appreciate that. I like to just see the subscriber number go up. We're on the road to 3K. It's always nice when I open up YouTube on my phone and look at the channel, and it's like, oh, you've got another subscriber. I'm like, yeah, I love it. Alex, welcome, says Ollie coming back. God, I think I'm going to be sick. Well, we'll talk a little bit more about Amorim, manager, and stuff on tomorrow's Kickabout show. You guys know every week we do a Kickabout. Dylan will be back. We'll be talking Amorim. We'll be talking the manager situation. We will be talking the Burnley result, but we will be sharing a lot of fun news and photos from the trip that Dylan and I just got back from. Dylan and I did go to Manchester last week. We left here Christmas. We're there for Newcastle. We're there for Wolves. We went to a Salford match. We met some fun people, met some absolute legends, and I'm not just talking about former players. So legends will know that. But come back tomorrow if you guys want to see some fun photos and all that. Big up to Bassi. He's here, always watching. Yes, let us know who's in the house. You guys know I'm going to find out the lurkers. If we get like a super chat or something, or we get up to like a bunch of likes and things, we will do memberships. I will gift 5 memberships, and that's always a good way to point out who's lurking. But how's everybody doing today? It has been raining all day where I'm at. It's pretty gross to see rain in January, but it is what it is. So let's talk about some news, shall we? So obviously yesterday we discussed the Amorim news. Go check out that video if you want to just a little recap of the details on that. Plus, if you want to hear me rant about modern football club structure for a little bit, I kind of went off on one a little bit. It's all good. So Amorim is out. Darren Fletcher is interim, and we'll see how that goes just for Burnley match so far. David Ornstein, Laurie Whitwell, Florian Plettenberg all have made claims, though, that there have been talks between Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Manchester United today. The talks were positive as well, so we'll see. I mean, we can go a little bit more in depth in that tomorrow. We can talk a little bit about it right now. It's just hard, right? You really have to differentiate between what you want and what is realistic, right? And because you have to take things as they are, not as how we want them to be. And yes, like in an ideal world, we would go and get our top managerial target right in the middle of the season. And you can argue that if Ineos were ambitious, that would happen. You can't just say that, though, because I do think that most managers don't like the idea of joining mid-season. They don't get preseason. I mean, Amorim didn't even want to join mid-season. I mean, it's not the best way to start things off as a new manager. And so, again, that's what I mean by realistic. We can't just go and get like Carlo Ancelotti or something. This year also being a World Cup year means there are a lot of top managers managing or coaching international sides that aren't available. You have to wait till after the summer, basically. Guys like Thomas Tuchel, who I know Rio Ferdinand really wants. Guys like Julian Nagelsmann, who would be one of my top choices. Those guys aren't going to be coming to the summer, which I don't like that scenario because I don't like having to wait till after a World Cup. So that leaves us with going and spending some money now to try to get someone in January, going and getting a free agent like Xavi, or you get an interim who has some experience and you ride that wave until the end of the season. Ollie kind of ticks that box. Would he be my first choice for permanent? No, I don't think he's going to be permanent. Of the interim options, probably the best option out there at the moment. If you're going to be realistic, he's did a lot with the club when he was here. I have been critical, similar to Amorim. I don't really think Ollie had a plan B. It is what it is. If he goes on a run like he did last time he was interim, though, fuck it, right? Who cares? Pep's already pissing himself if he sees Ollie rock up at the Etihad because Ollie had Pep's number. But forget, Ollie got third, he got second. He went on a tremendous run. He was breaking records. He got to Europa League final. And spoiler alert for that first season of What if David De Gea had kind of listened to instruction during that shootout, we might have won the Europa League under Ollie. So you never know. I'm bigging it up like I love Ollie. Like I do love Ollie as a player. I think he's one of the most underrated players we've ever had. It's just of the interim options, he's probably the best one out there. So let's just see. But you guys let me know what you guys think. Let me see what we got going on here. Tobias Fletcher brothers debut. I mean, we've already got one of them he's not made his full debut, but he's gotten plenty of minutes right now. So Jesus, amen. What's up? Says Jack and Tyler. Double pivot incoming. Yeah. Fletcher was asked about that in the pre-match press conference too. He kind of laughed it off. He said, they were already in here and they already got minutes before I arrived. So we'll see. But it really is funny. But let me know how you feel about Ollie. Let me know how you feel about that whole situation. Do you have a better interim option? We'll talk a little bit more about permanent options tomorrow because we did see some shakeup elsewhere in the managerial role today as well, namely over at PSG. Wink, wink. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But as far as Amorim goes, I think a lot of people seem to think that the main issue was Amorim kind of pushing for players for the here and now. That's what we're getting. Like Mark Critchley did an interview earlier with Stretford Paddock, and he kind of said, Amorim and Jason Wilcox had a meeting, and Amorim is pushing for players for the here and now, players who can come in and do the job that he needs them to do. He was pushing for midfielders in the summer, for instance. He wanted some players in January, and was basically told that the club they have a plan. It's more long-term, more youth-oriented, more developmental, more financially stable. And if looking back on some of the press conferences, you can kind of see Amorim was basically just parroting that. And at the time, I think we all thought, okay, he's doing it because he's a puppet. I think he's doing it to look back and looking back on that. I think he's saying like he's kind of doing it a little bit like defiantly, like nope, this is what we're doing. But basically, according to Critchley, that conversation did not go well. That Amorim basically said, I'm leaving then. I'm going to call my agent and leave. And the rest is history. It sounds like the club just said, fuck it. We did that poll yesterday, though. Most of you think that the club just didn't back him. And it kind of sounds like both parties had their own kind of perception of what was needed and neither was willing to back down. So when that happens, somebody's got to go. And usually in football, that does mean the manager. So it is what it is. Alexis on says, I think top managers will join United after what we did with Amorim. And all the reports coming out, seems the club is really good at killing reputation. Are we still worth? There's always managers will always bash themselves to be the guy to turn things around. That's just what managers to an extent are a bit egomaniacal in terms of that. They do back themselves. That's why I always say I don't have a problem with managers who back themselves. They all do. They all back themselves to take on challenges. They all back themselves to be the guy. You kind of want that from a manager. You don't want someone who's a little bit, iffy, wishy-washy like a David Moyes or anything. You want guys who back themselves. Now, where you do cross the line is where maybe a little bit like Amorim did, you kind of dig in your heels a little bit because you're afraid of looking wrong. So you just continue with what you want to do, despite all the evidence that tells you maybe this isn't the best idea. So I know a lot of people think that he was told to play it. I don't think he was told to play a back four. I think what happened there was we looked decent when we played a back four, right? And I think maybe he was asked by Wilcox and co, hey, we noticed we looked a little better with the back four. Tell me what your thought process is behind, not sticking with that. Help us understand. I think that's mainly what that conversation probably looked like personally. Um, but you never know. Like, obviously, I'm not an ITK. I'm not going to pretend I know. But again, most of you think he wasn't backed enough. I do agree with Amram that we do need some center midfielders. This is what our center midfield business has looked like since Sir Alex retired, and that makes for really poor reading. We've got 3 summer windows in there where we didn't sign a single center midfielder, and it's literally just been like one every summer since. Some of whom just Ollie didn't want Van de Beek. Fred, probably not great. Eriksson, Casemiro, both literally late 20s, early 30s. Schweinsteiger, well past his probably sell by date. Schneiderlin, I think looking back, probably wasn't ever going to be good enough. I think the best ones in there are probably going to be looking at, maybe you can maybe say Casemiro and Eriksson were the best ones in there. Matic, I think, was very underrated. Herrera obviously was an absolute legend. I love Ander Herrera. I wish we could use a player like him right now. But that's been our midfield business since Sir Alex Ferguson retired. And quite frankly, not good enough. Amorim has every right to be absolutely livid with the fact that we didn't sign anybody in the summer. We're not, and it doesn't look like we have any plans to do any business in January. Like, that's unfortunate. So, but I thought I'd share that with you because I thought that was very, very interesting. In other news, we got some reports that Harry Amos is going to be returning to United this month following the end of his loan at Sheffield Wednesday. Sheffield Wednesday loan was only until January. Sheffield obviously are struggling a bit financially. I think they do want to keep him. He's back-to-back player of the month for them these last 2 months. I just don't know if it is what it is. He returns to us again following those awards. Monster defensive performance against Watford recently, where he had 17 defensive contributions, 9 tackles, 14 duels won as well. Like, Harry Amos has, like, I'm happy to hold my hands up. I did not think he could handle the physicality. When I watched him in the academy, even, he was getting bullied, and he's just developing very, very well. We did that loan watch during the last international break too. Harry Amos has turned into an absolute baller of a footballer. I'm happy with his development. But it sounds like he could go back out on loan. Stoke City, I heard, are maybe interested in bringing him there. So we'll see how it goes. But he needs to go and play for sure. Big up Rich, put Carrick back in the team. Honest to God, I'm not even going to say that's a horrible idea. Carrick, to me, was absolute class, not world class. People hear me say when I say players are class, and they're like, he's not world class. I'm like, I didn't say world class. I said class. Carrick was absolutely, his autobiography back here behind me is very good too. If you guys ever read it, Between the Lines, it's called. It's a really good autobiography. Debasi says, I keep forgetting Van de Beek. Yeah, Ollie, the wrong player for the wrong manager. If Ten Hag would have got Van de Beek like his first season, I think it would have been different. But Van de Beek's not a counter-attacking, like full-on attack. It just wasn't ever going to work with him under him. But Rich, you say you're only half joking, but let's be honest. Compared to some of the midfielders we've seen come and go, and a player do like Ugarte, I think Carrick would come in and do an absolute job. But now I'm only half joking. So we'll see what happens with Harry Amos. I wouldn't want his development, this trajectory he's been on this season, to be derailed. I want it to keep going smoothly, but we'll see how it goes. I also saw a random report. I don't know if you guys saw this. Rich, maybe you saw this. I saw a report linking, I think it's from the Daily Mail, linking Casemiro to LA Galaxy. And I think other reports have linked a lot of MLS clubs to Casemiro. There's right now they're kind of in their off season. They will start again in March, but interesting stuff. I think that MLS would be, if he wants to go and live in like America, that would be the solution. If you want to go get money, then you go to the Saudi League. So it really just depends. If he's a designated player in MLS, he will get more than other players in the side. The MLS sides are allowed 3 designated player slots, and they can actually trade those slots, kind of like how the NFL does, trading draft picks and stuff for different things. You can actually trade that kind of stuff. You get designated player slots, you get like targeted allocation money slots, you get general allocation. It's really weird how MLS works. I watch more USL than I watch MLS. USL is going to be one of the bigger leagues in the States coming in here soon. They are really pushing. They're promoting a whole new promotion relegation model. They've got USL, USL2, all this stuff. They're really trying to leapfrog MLS and NISA. NISA is shit though anyway. But Nisa can't even, the whole league itself can't even pay its refs for fuck's sake. That league is crumbles. But so keep an eye on that. I might have a USL player in my scouting report coming up later on this week. So just a little bit of a spoiler alert. Big up, Rob Taff. Welcome. Rob Taff, yes, please hit the like button, subscribe as well. Rob Taff, heavily active in the United vs. Everybody WhatsApp community, starting 11 and Legends members get access to that. Keep it respectful. Don't share the link, please. But we talk about a lot in there. Today, mainly just Ollie stuff. So let's talk about this match, shall we? 31 watching. How many likes we got? Someone keep an eye on those likes. Maybe we can do a giveaway for memberships today if we get a certain amount of likes. Always try to hook people up. We're at 5 likes so far. We'll call it 20 likes. If we can get 20 likes today, we will see what we can do about maybe throwing 5 memberships at the general chat. But big up, Kai, Mad Hatter, back in the house. Seems like a good time of the day for everybody. I kind of have to squeeze things in during the week in between my sessions and my wife's sessions for clients. And so happy to be able to do it today. And like I said yesterday, I completely forgot with coming back from the trip and everything. I forgot that there was a match midweek. I know we have an FA Cup match coming up too. Fuck. Rob Taft says, if Ollie comes back, does that mean the band is getting back together? Rashford, God no to Sancho. Sancho's out of here in the summer. And Rashford can't come back. I don't even want Mainu back. If Mainu suddenly just rocks up and is fit and he's hopping around like a spring chicken, I'm sitting him down for another match because we can't reward that kind of stuff. There have to be consequences. There has to be accountability. And yes, we might not know 100% what went on, but I think if anyone thinks Mainu was really injured, I mean, I want whatever you're smoking perfectly. Tim 1999, welcome, says, I prefer character Ollie, just feel we're going in a circle. Well, remember, it's not permanent. Ollie is interim. Like that is what it is. I think it's just because he was here and he ended up getting sacked, it doesn't mean that he's the worst option for interim necessarily. I think there's 2 separate things. So I think that right now it's steadying the ship, seeing what the options are. And I think Ollie, to me, is a better option than Carrick, a better option than Fletcher. But it sounds like everybody could be getting back together. So who knows, man? Matt Hatter says, do you both work in the same field? If so, that's awesome. Who are you talking about? Let me know. I don't know what that means. So let's talk about this match. Burnley. Forgot we played Burnley today. Burnley haven't beaten us in 6 years. But, of course, both sides looked very, very different back then. This is why I don't like the whole, we've beaten everybody over this. It's been this many wins, this many losses. Teams change a lot. But for the most part, it's been all United recently. We did manage to snatch 3 points at home earlier this season. I think that was a day before my birthday, thanks to a late penalty. You guys remember that? A lot of people criticize us. Liverpool ended up beating them the same way, so it is what it is. Maybe Burnley deserve a bit more credit. They are struggling, though. I think they are 19th right now, just 12 points, not looking good for the Clarets. Haven't won a game since late October, 9 losses and 2 draws since. Not a good look. United are either less, depending on who else is playing today. I think there is a match today, too. I think it's West Ham Forest. So depending on who's playing today, United are either in 6th or 10th, depending on the hour. It's kind of like the weather here in the Michigan. Just wait a couple minutes and shit will change. We are 6th, though, after Chelsea managed to get a late draw against City. So we could have been 5th. Chelsea came back and got something from that. 1 win, 1 loss, 5 draws on our last 5, though. That's just not good enough. Just not good enough, especially considering we dropped points against Wolves, Bournemouth, and Leeds. So really, all sides, with all due respect, we should be beating. We should be. You can't put 4 past Bournemouth and still draw. That's just not okay. Yes, we got injuries. Yes, there are AFCON players, and these players are important to us. But Amorim shares his fair share of the responsibility for the way we drop points there, along with the players and Ineos. Ineos are not off scot-free on this either. Who's here in the chat here? So, Danny says, doesn't matter who the manager is, really don't care anymore. Yikes. Oh, Danny. Smile, man. Smile. It's just, like I said the other day, it's being a United fan these days. It's kind of like, you guys ever go tubing down a river, just floating in an inner tube? It's kind of what it is. You can't control it. You can't fight it. You just got to sit back, and something just fucking fell off my roof. I don't know if you guys heard that. It's like, tubing down a river. You just sit back and enjoy the ride and maybe drink a little while you're doing it. That's all we can do. That's all you can do now. Danny says, Wilcox, Barada. If Barada was behind the whole Amorim thing and stuff, and they decided that Amorim just it didn't work, then he's got to take his fair share of the responsibility. That's part of it. Me and my wife, yes, we do. We're both therapists. We both work from home. We've worked from home since COVID started, really. So I see clients here. A lot of them ask me what this is. She has an office like right next to me. That's why I can't do this while she's got clients, because she can't have people in there talking about really heavy stuff and hear me in the background going, "Oh, fuck off!" Like it doesn't work. It doesn't work. So I got to work around that sometimes, but it is what it is. Rob Tab says, "I like the idea of Steve Bruce brought in to assist Carrick." I mean, it's pretty much these days. It just seems like, have you played for United before? Cool, jump in line kind of thing. I think a lot of it is media driven. I don't really think Steve Bruce is going to show up and do that, but it is what. Big up, Agile Beast. Good to see you again. Hope you're doing well. Agile says, "Did Santa get stuck up there? Could you hear it? I mean, I didn't know. It sounded pretty loud. It sounded like something fell literally on my roof. That's not good. I don't want to go out there and find like a dead like bald eagle or something on my front lawn. That would suck. That's how big it sounded." Burnley. Again, Burnley are struggling. Scott Parker is rumored to be in a fight for his life right now. Lose this match reportedly, and the talk is he'll be gone. So it's survival football for them. They are literally going to be probably just. It's either you go one of two ways. Either they're going to sit back, try to hit us on the break, and just try to maybe nick a point, or they're just going to say fuck it. We're just going to go all out, and we'll see what we can do. When he came in, he took over from Vincent Kompany, I believe. He kept some of the principles from Kompany, short passing in the build up, but Parker also adopted a bit of a safety first kind of mentality here. They spend long stretches of the games in a compact mid block designed to kind of prevent a whole lot of progression from us in central areas. They want to funnel the opposition into wide areas so they can kind of win the ball back there and then launch it up wide. And so instead of chasing the ball all over the pitch, Burnley are happy to sit in a 4-2-3-1 or even a 5-3-2 at times, stay narrow, block those passing lanes, and just wait for the pressing triggers before they just kind of, again, flood forward on numbers. That's how they want to go. They absorb pressure for long periods, and then they will spring forward with very quick, very direct attacks in the channels. They could shift between a back four or a back five between matches, or within a match, just depending on the situation. They will tweak things if they're coming up against overloads in wide areas. They will oftentimes even drop an extra body in midfield to help out too. So keep an eye on that. They are very reactive. They're not proactive. They're very reactive. And so we can kind of trick them into different things, but I don't know if we're going to be that cerebral with this. So basically, they want you to force the opposition wide, and they want to force the crosses into the box because they trust themselves to clear the danger rather than to kind of defend in the space in midfield, basically. They want to win that ball back, launch a counterattack. Let's see. They want to get the substitutions in that are about controlling the games. It's not just about like for likes, and it's about what's the game state. Let's control it. So keep an eye on that. They are near bottom right now for goals per 90. They've got average one goal per 90. They're 18th right now for goals conceded per 90, so they're not great. 19th for expected goals. 29th. They're 20th for shots on target. Bottom of the table right now for accurate crosses. So they're shit. They're shit. Again, they're bottom for average possession because they're a counterattacking side. Their long balls they're all right. They're 7th, I think, for long balls, but again, counterattacking side. That's what they're doing. So we know what to expect. They're going to sit back, hit us on the break. That's what they want. It's going to be a little similar to the way Everton played. We absolutely cannot gift them an early goal, because then it will be even more like the way Everton played, and we'll never get an opportunity. We just don't. Maybe under Fletcher it'll be different because he probably will move the ball a little quicker than Amorim did. Maybe we'll see. But if they nick a goal and they sit back, it's going to be a long, frustrating day at the office. They will literally put 10 men behind the ball. That's just what they're going to do. They do have a few injuries and a few AFCON absentees as well. So Hannibal Mejbri, no reunion era. He will be done. Tuanzebe, Foster are all with their national teams. Connor Roberts, Joe Worrell, Esteve will likely be missing as well. Cullen, Amdouni they've both been out with cruciate injuries, so they're done. Zion Fleming is their striker. He's got 5 goals, but he did go off early against Everton recently with an injury, so we'll see what happens there. Jaden Anthony is the guy to watch out for. because he can be a handful from wide areas. He's got 4 goals. He's very tricky. He's very pacey. He's very direct. The kind of winger, the kind of attacker that we do struggle to defend against. We cannot leave those gaps between defenders like we've been doing, because we will get punished for it, especially on a counterattack. Remember Brentford, Palace, Bournemouth, the same it's like carbon copy the kind of goals we've been conceding. We cannot do that. We've got to shape it up. And I do think we'll see something different under Fletcher, but again, that's on individuals in their switching off, their rest defense. They're not talking to each other, not the tactics. They have a new left back as well, Hartman, 4 assists in the league, but 2 of those assists were against Wolves. But he is a good little left back. He hasn't been starting as much recently, but I do like the look of him. What are y'all saying here in the chat here? Donna Ross, welcome, says responsible in a bad way. I hope not. Amorim had done enough. He had to go. We're not 3 at the back club. We're dropping points carelessly. Yeah, I don't think it has to do with 3 at the back necessarily. 3 at the back doesn't really do anything. It's the way that Amorim, the system is more than anything. It's not just a 3 at the back thing. It's just the way he set us up, his tactics that had a big role in it. And he wasn't willing to change. And I think that's just, you're going to die in that sword. That is what it is. I've said many times, I don't get into manager in, manager out conversations. I think it's pointless. All I'll say is managers will get themselves backed, or they'll get themselves sacked depending on the decisions they make. And Amorim just continued to make bad decisions and not good ones. So it is what it is. Bexley says, I guess the Amorim system has gone. Interesting to see the formation. Yeah, I think that Fletcher is going to play something a little different. And so we'll see what happens. God, I hope not. I hope not, Rob. That would suck. Bloody Abe, welcome back, says, I'm depressed they sacked Ruben, boycott the club. Yeah, I mean, not everyone's too happy about it. I do think that some people really like Ruben. I mean, it is what it is, right? Bexy says, I honestly think the Amorim era was horrendous. Back-to-back wins seemed almost impossible. Yeah, I do agree. You can tell Glasner wants the job. Glasner definitely does want a bigger job. I think with Glasner's case, it's more that he's really not happy with the way that Crystal Palace are doing things personally. I think that they're selling too many players, and he's called it out a couple times now. I do think that if they sell more players this January, he could walk away, and I wouldn't blame him necessarily. Debasi, absolute legend, has gifted 5 UVE memberships. Absolute legend, Debasi. Hold up, you get one of these, man. Welcome, thank you. That is awesome. Who are the lurkers? Nick Fradley is a worker, Leon France, Skeptical Hippo, Alex Roche, Ken Grogan, all lurkers. I see you. I see you. Agile, if you didn't get one, remember, it is a setting in YouTube for your individual YouTube account. You have to have it set so you can accept memberships because there is money and stuff involved. So you just have to have it activated. If it's not activated, then you don't get them. Sorry. It's not I can't do anything about that. That's all your thing. So Shar says, only manager could save Man United is Antonio Conte. Welcome to the channel, Shars. Antonio, I know a lot of people like Antonio Conte. I knew a lot of people like he's a winner. If I'm going to go that route, I'd probably lean more towards Thomas Tuchel than Antonio Conte personally. But right now, my top choice is probably going to be either Nagelsmann or Emery. But it just is what it is, man. Everybody's going to have their preference. But big up Debasi. I know everyone's appreciative of that. So that's what you can expect to see from Burnley. Now, for United, I had a whole spiel prepared, right? I had a whole thing, and then Amorim got sacked, and it is what it is. If you've watched any of the under-18s games, though, you'll know that Darren Fletcher is a huge proponent of very free-flowing, very attacking football. He said this after an academy match back in August, that the fast attacks, it's proper United. I've been showing them clips of Rooney, Ronaldo, Ji-Sung Park, counterattack goals, trying to show a bit of that Man United DNA. And that's what he likes. If you've watched in the under-18s, you'll be forgiven if you haven't, because MUTV doesn't know how to broadcast matches anymore, apparently, because they can go fuck themselves. But that's what we can expect to see. Shar says, Conte is going to give you a seasoned long-term coach, won't work for United. I really don't want us to go that Chelsea route, though, right, where we're just riding the wave of new manager bounce time in, time out. I mean, it's one thing if you're like, all right, we need to find the guy that works, but we've done that and it just doesn't really work, unfortunately. So we have a project. We want someone who's going to be here for at least a couple years. It's just that part is also on the manager as well. So what are you going to do? But so Fletcher will bring back the football that we know and love. If you've watched the under 18s, guys like JJ Gabriel are the epitome of that. At brag him off again, energetic, progression, just all energy, man. I love it. Fletcher confirmed too that Johnny Evans and the under 21s coaches Travis Binion and Alan Wright will be helping him out as assistants as well in the touchline. So again, lots of familiar faces in there. We're probably going to see a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3-3 depending on game states and whatnot. That pivot, it can very easily just shift to a 4-3-3. So that's why I don't have a problem with someone like Manu playing in the pivot. It's all about the system. I think people are too hung up on formation. Manu played in a pivot under Ten Hag, and it was a very different double pivot than under Amorim, and so that can be different. He'll if we say it's a 4-2-3-1 and like someone like Cobby is starting, it will switch to a 3 in midfield when we're attacking, for instance. But under Fletcher, look for us to get it wide, look for us to get it up the pitch, look to us to get it in the box. Inverted runs, a lot of direct passes, crosses even. He does like possession. He does like to create space, quick transitions, counter pressing as well, overloads in wide areas, almost making it like you almost go into like a 3-2-5 sometimes in the attack with the wingers kind of inverting a little bit and getting into channels that's created by those wide overloads. It's something I've asked for Amorim to do more, get more attackers. We saw what happened when Xerxes came on the pitch the other day. Like, it's too easy to defend against one striker, especially when your tactic is to hoof and hope to Shesko. It's nothing against Shesko, but it's too easy to mark one striker when both center backs can just do it. Under Fletcher in those wide areas too, you're also going to see a lot of little rotations, a lot of movement. There's going to be some triangles where the midfielders, the wingers, and the fullbacks are going to be moving around a little bit. And what that does is it creates a bit of confusion. It's very Spanish. It creates a bit of confusion. Who to mark, who to leave, and things. Constant movement. I like that. Where it might slow down with Fletcher, though, is that first phase. Because if you've watched the under 18s, that first phase, building out from the back, can be almost agonizingly slow at times. And really the difference is patience. When it comes to building out from the back, they wait for the right opportunity. They want to wait for that ideal chance to beat the opposition press, get that ball into the best position, and then from there it's go, go, go. Under Fletcher in the under 18s, guys like JJ Gabriel will often drop deep. Bragimoff also drop deep to come and contribute to that as well. They're very comfortable in those tight areas, which I do think Cunha is also very, very comfortable with as well. So keep a lookout for that. Xerxes as well. What this requires, though, whether build up or in those little triangles, for instance, is composure, ability on the ball. So I do think that guys like Licha, Aiden Heaven will be crucial in that buildup because they're both very comfortable on the ball. They're both very good on the ball as well. And that's what you need when you're building out from the back. Whew, what are you guys saying here? Let me get caught up here. Dabasi says, that was a golden era. The 3 high-quality forwards with 2 stamina beasts attacking the goals together. True. Shar says, I don't want to go to nostalgic route. Just want to move on. Again, interim, not the same as the plan moving forward. Right now it's steady the ship until the top guy can be found. And I think in my opinion anyway, again, it doesn't mean I'm right. It doesn't even mean I think I'm right and everyone else is wrong. It's just, in my opinion, Ollie right now is probably the best option to do that. He knows the club. He's done really well. If he goes on a winning run like he did when he was interim the first time, dude, 21's coming. Don't clip me up. Include the wink in there so everyone knows that I'm kidding when I say that. But for real, the 21's coming if we go on a winning run. We just have to catch Arsenal. City don't seem to want it this year. I thought they wouldn't drop points, but they keep doing it. But Agile says Wilcox's role has to be under scrutiny. I did read something. Where was it from earlier that we could be looking for another director of football? I don't remember where it's from. The reason I didn't write it down is because it probably wasn't a good source personally. But if someone remembers where maybe they've seen that today, let me know. But I don't think it was a great source. But Goodbye says, I see no one even tries to move into the box. Shesko alone will get bowled. Yeah, it's too easy to defend Shesko right now, and it doesn't mean it's Shesko's fault. I just think that part of it is his finishing has not been great, but he's getting into good positions. I thought his link-up play was really good. He's winning a lot of aerial duels, but it's just no one, because it was just him and there's no other, like Xerxes when he came on made the difference because we weren't winning the second balls, and you can't hoof and hope if you're not going to try to win that second ball, man. Shars does not think Xavi was going to work because United players see ball as bombs. Yeah, I like Xavi. I don't know if we have the players for his system. He is about space and movement. It is very Spanish. I just don't know if we have the players who can play that way right now. I do think he would struggle under in this squad. I think if and with a refresh with a couple new midfielders, I think Cobby could really work. A good defensive midfielder who's good on the ball, and another good eight. I think it could work, but it's just not right now. Not right now. So Rob Tav is excited by the change. Hopefully, we see more positive play. We'll see. Fletcher is going to be very, very different. So we will see. I'm not going to say anything's guaranteed, but who knows? Shar says Xavi is good as a manager, huge figure, would control dressing room. Yeah, that is. We talked about this, Shars. I don't know if you're brand new to the channel, but I did put a link in the description of the video that Dylan and I, my co-host for the Kickabout, we did a show a couple months back when it was really bad in September. We looked at 8 managers who could potentially replace Ruben Amorim at the time, and Xavi was covered. We did a lot of pros, cons, his CV, his tactics, all that kind of stuff. So go watch that video for a breakdown of 8 different managers. There is a link as well for a poll. You can go and vote on your options. Glasner's still winning. I think Xavi and Iriola are getting a couple more votes as well, but Glasner is still number 1 right now. So it is what it is. But Xavi, so 2 things with Xavi that sway it either way for me. One, pro Xavi. He's managed Barcelona. That's a big, big club, high pressure profile, like big egos. The negative is he's still very inexperienced as a manager. That was like his first big job. And so I'm like, I don't like the idea of young managers. In terms of, when I say young, I don't mean age. I mean young as in experience. Because I would take Nagelsmann. He's got a lot of experience, but even though he's younger than me, the bastard. What it is, what it is. Stephanie, big up. Yeah, I do have a poll going on in there for what you guys think we're going to be doing with this one. United win. One of you says Burnley win. Interesting. Stephanie, welcome back, Steph. Hope you're doing well. I voted interim manager bounce. We need to get to 40 points ASAP. No, I hear you. I absolutely hear you. As far as team news goes, I am seeing reports that Bruno could be back for this one after his return to training on grass this week. Fletcher gave this update in the presser. He said Mason and Bruno wanted to play against Leeds, but we decided they weren't quite ready yet. They trained, so they could be back in the team, but their playing time will be managed as they have just resumed training. So it's managed minutes for them. Pretty normal when you're coming back from injury. We saw that with Shesko and stuff. I think Bruno is one of those guys he's just going to play. He's just going to play. So I don't think Fletcher's going to go too crazy and start a bunch of kids. I don't think he's going to start his sons or anything. I wouldn't even expect to see like Lacey start, but I would expect to see some youngsters in the second half. Fletcher knows these kids. Lacey, I think, could have been. I would have brought on Lacey for Dorgu against Leeds with like 10 minutes to go the other day. I do think that match was crying out for someone with a little of that precociousness. Dorgu looked like he was getting caught between 2 minds at times. So it is what it is. But I want to know how you would line up. I want to know your starting 11s because I've got a couple depending on how we might line up and who might be fit. So let's see. Let me get caught up in the chat first. But get involved with your starting 11s. I'm going to put mine up on the screen here in a second. Shar says, another thing, Xavi was vocal about signing in the press conferences. Yeah, Xavi's got expensive taste. And it just is. And that was one of the things we talked about in that video a while back. Again, go watch that one. We talk about 8 managers in there. We did not include another guy. We'll talk about that. We did not include Luis Enrique because at the time it was like not even on my radar that he would even be a possibility. But there was some news about that today. So, yeah, but Xavi's very, very vocal. But it's funny to me, like, if people who want Conte, because Conte was the same way. Conte will call people out. Tuchel, the same way as well. Tuchel, remember when Tuchel was at PSG, he wanted center backs. He only got midfielders, so he started playing the center back or center midfielder at center back just to kind of a big fuck you to the PSG board, man. It's hilarious, dude. Absolutely hilarious. 70s. Sean, is it likely Ollie returns for an interim stint? Well, we talked about that to start the show. It does seem a lot of the talk. Ornstein, Whitwell, Critchley, Plettenberg all report today that Ollie met with United. The talks were positive. We know that Evans is coming back. Fletcher's here. I saw a lot of talk that maybe Michael Carrick could come back and help out as well as an assistant. And another reason I don't think Fletcher should have the job. Not only is he not experienced, but we need him back with the under-18s. We need Travis Binion, these guys back with the youth teams. I don't want the youth teams to suffer because the first team has been shit situation. I want them to go back to their jobs because they were doing just fine. Bring in Ollie. Evans can stay. Carrick can come in and stay. Fuck it. Bring back McLaren. He's not doing shit anymore now that he left the Rasta men, the Rasta boys. Like, that's fine. It's interim. It's not permanent. It's for the next few months to get us to the end of the season. And Ollie did just fine when he was here interim before. He did a lot when he was here. I'm not saying make him permanent. It is what it is. But to come in and steady the ship, I don't have a problem with that. I really don't. So let's see here. Alex Core, welcome. A Scotsman in charge. Yes. Are you a Scotsman as well? I'm Irish. My family's Irish, so it is what it is. But let's see. Bloody Ape thinks he's going to start his son. I mean, I wouldn't. I don't think he will personally, but Alex Core wants a 4-4-2. I know a lot of people really miss the 4-4-2. I don't know if we have the midfielders for a 4-4-2 because we don't have the midfielders through a 3-4-2-1. We need to pack some more bodies in midfield personally. So Shars thinks Luis Enrique is impossible. I never said he was possible. That's why he wasn't featured in the video, but we did get some news regarding Luis Enrique today that we'll talk about a little bit more tomorrow. So, but I want your starting 11s because I've got a couple here that depending on the scenario. So depending on who's fit and available, right? Because we don't know what's going on with Bruno, Mount, and everything. So, and with AFCON and stuff. But so here's mine right now with who's fit and what I think Fletcher would go with if Bruno is available. This is with Bruno. I'm assuming Bruno is just going to play because that's Bruno. 4-2-3-1. I have Dorgu back on the right-hand side because I do think he looks good there. I didn't like he played, I think it was Newcastle. I think he was Premier League Player of the Week that week as well. Very good match. Scored that winner. Dylan and I were there for that. It was awesome. But this is who I think Fletcher could go with a 4-2-3-1, given the players we have right now. I do think, obviously, DeLitt, Maguire, not quite fit yet. Probably going to see Heaven, Licha, Shaw. I do trust Shaw on that left-hand side a little bit more. I do want some more experience there. And he looks good when he's linking up and building out from the back. Dallo, we don't really have a choice. We have to play Dallo. Well, not my first choice if everyone's fit, but it is what it is. Pivot of Casemiro and Ugarte. I do think Ugarte has been much better than a lot of people seem to think in these last couple matches. I thought he's been very good. Doesn't mean I want to build around Ugarte. I'd still sell him, but we have to give credit where it's due. He's very good. Casemiro's passing was a bit shit against Leeds, but he still has an excellent passing range, and so I'm going to call that a one-off. But obviously, the front kind of picks itself with Cunha and Shesko a little bit. Not much else we can do there personally. So Alex Gore says, this formation gets us better every time. Remember Ten Hag. I mean, it just depends. It just depends on how you set up. It's not just about formation. It's about the system that you play. Now, I have another formation if we want to see a 4-3-3 maybe moving forward. Let's say Kobbie Mainoo is fit or whatever. Miraculously, this is how moving forward right now, we could see a 4-3-3 going. I think that Bruno and Kobbie would make better eights. This is why I've been pushing for a 3-5-2 for a while, because I do think we need bodies in midfield because we're too open, but I do think that Kobbie is an 8, not a 6, and I do think Bruno could do really well in an 8. Kind of that gap between playing deep but also letting him make those runs forward. And still you got Dorgu playing on the right wing because that's what we have right now. That's all we have. Obviously, if everyone's fit, Mbeumo is going to be. Now, the big issue here, if you get a manager who wants to play a 4-3-3 or 4-3-3-1, it's what happens with Ahmad, Mbeumo, and Cunha, because Ahmad is probably the one who's going to get dropped to rotation, which again raises the question. Now, he can play a 10. He played there when he was on loan at Sunderland a few years back, and he was very, 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 very good there. But what do you do with Bruno when you've still got Mount? A lot more questions than answers these days. But the boss says it looks a little confident structure. 4-3-3 can work. It just depends on who you have fit. Big up, Mark. It says Shaw, Martinez, Yoro, Dallo, Cass, Bruno, Mount, Cunha, Shesko, Dorgu, Cass, Bruno, yeah. Yeah, who knows what's going on with Mount? You could easily put Mount in there as well in the Kobbie role. I just threw it in there just because. But there are a lot of different ways that Fletcher can line us up. I do think it's going to shift from a 4-2-3-1 to a 4-3-3. Here's back to my 4-2-3-1. Who might be starting tomorrow if everyone is fit? Maybe who's coming back? Maybe Bruno, for instance. But let's see. Alex Gore says 4-4-2 wins trebles. I mean, it did. You can't deny that it did, but that was a long time ago. and it required different profiles of midfielders. I don't think we have the midfielders we've seen since Amorim's been here. We don't have the midfielders who can play just in a midfield four like that. It just doesn't work. There's Casemiro can't get up and down the pitch. Ugarte is not good enough on the ball. Bruno can play, but he's not defensive. He's not a six, and so he'll make the mistakes that you'd expect someone to make when they're a 10 who's playing as a six. It's just the way it works. Unfortunately, Stephanie says a Mount is fit. I'd start him. Yeah, I'd start Mason Mount as well. I don't have any problem with Mason Mount. You could easily put Mount in there. Maybe you put Mount on the right or something. I do not know, but I do think Dorgu looks good on the right. I do think Lacey could probably come on as well. But yeah, let me know what your guys' 11s look like. I do like Mount as an 8 as well. I do think he could have come in at times and maybe taken over for Bruno in the pivot. Maybe we had an opportunity to put Bruno a little higher up as well, but obviously Amorim didn't want to do anything like that. So it is what it is. What's your score predictions for this one, you guys? Make sure you're liking, make sure you're subscribing too, please, as well. Check those memberships when you get a second. So 89% of you are saying it's going to be United win. 11% of you think it's going to be a Burnley win. No one thinks it's going to be a draw. So I want to know the score. So I'm going to go 3-1 United. I do think that the attack will be going. I do think we'll concede. We just tend to concede. It is what it is. We switch off at bad times, and we are vulnerable to those counterattacks a lot. I do think one pass and the opposition is through into our box. It happened the other day against Leeds. It's going to happen again. I'm going to go 3-1 United. Danny's going 2-1 United. Yeah, you can never see us not conceding, right? We're always going to concede. Debassi's going 2-0 United, so I like the clean sheet prediction. If Shars agrees with you, Debassi, Shars is going 2-0 United as well. I think the vibe for this one, the way we're going to set up, the way we're going to watch, I do think it's going to have a bit of that vibe we saw under Rude last season. I do think it's going to feel very similar, very attack-minded, very numbers in the box, like we did under Rude. Burnley are not good. The pressure is on, and the pressure will either spur managers and players to do good things, or they'll crumble. Burnley have been crumbling this season. I'd love us to take advantage of that personally. It sounds cruel when you say it like that. I don't care. If they're not my club, I could not care. Stephanie's going 2-1. Big up. Alex Core is going 4-0 United. Come on, Fletcher. Ollie out. Ollie's not even here yet, and people are also hating it. Shars, where's your lineup at? Let me see. So Shars is going Lemons, Euro, Maguire. Is Maguire even fit? I don't think Maguire's fit. Licha, Dorgu on the left, Casemiro, Manu. I don't even think Manu's fit. I mean, a Casemiro, Manu, Bruno midfield 3, like in a 4-3-3 is good. And if everyone's fit, I like it. Mount on the left, Shesko, Cunha on the right wing. So yeah, it's a good looking lineup. I just don't know if any of those guys are fit at the moment. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, well done. Sasanga, welcome. Says 3-0 United. Everybody's got a couple of clean sheet predictions in here. I like that. Tabasi says we usually get played better we call that new manager bounce. Our share prices also go up when we bring in new managers, so that'll be good in the boardroom. I can't believe it. So, but we'll see how it goes. We could jump up a few places. Liverpool do play Arsenal, so the win tomorrow could actually see us draw level with the Scousers on points if they lose to Arsenal. Potentially even leapfrog them on goal differential to secure a top 4 spot, for a minute, because things change so quickly here. A loss, though, could see us drop down to 8th, which I'm not excited about. Sunderland play Brentford, and that's kind of a 6-pointer for them. They're right in about the same spots we are right now. Again, table is absolutely ridiculous this season. We don't even have to play to drop 3 spots. It's crazy, man. Fletcher will be fine no matter what happens. His job is not to come in and win the league. His job is to just be an interim, kind of like whoever who took over at Chelsea the other day from Maresca, and he got that result against City. His job is to come in and be interim, take over for a match or two, go back to the under-18s if and when a more experienced interim or even a permanent appointment is made. We'll talk a little bit more about that tomorrow on the Kickabout as well, though, so be sure to stop by for that one as well. Adrian's back in the house. Ineos, such a disgrace. They are looking quite incompetent, aren't they? Looking like they have no fucking idea what they're doing, man. Shars thinks Euro at right back will be a world beater. Euro has struggled to defend in wide areas if you've been watching him. And he's young, so he's not shit. He's not a right back. He's center back. And so getting the ball into that channel, we saw him struggle against Villa. Morgan Rogers had him on toast that match. He does struggle. He doesn't really seem to know yet when to jump, when to kind of stay back, and that's because he's young and he's just not comfortable because it's not his position. Again, kind of like Bruno playing as a six. Euro's not a right back. It just is what it is. I thought he looked marginally better when he's played left back, or at least on the left side of the defense. Sorry. Um, but if we go to a 4-4 or like a 4 at the back, Euro will probably look a lot better. But we'll see. But that's going to do it for me, you guys. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe to the channel. I do think we'll get a win. Like I said, I predicted 3-1, but we'll see. We will be back tomorrow night. So tomorrow night, we were going to do a kind of report card for the new signings. That's going to get pushed a week now that the Amorim situation has popped up. And because I didn't realize it was a Burnley match. So Bill and I are going to be talking about our trip to Manchester that we just got back from. We're going to talk a little bit about managers, and we're going to be talking about the Burnley match as well. So be sure to come back tomorrow night. You guys will see the thumbnail pop up for that as well. Bexy would play Martinez as a six. I've seen a lot of people say that. I think he can play there. I wouldn't want to play there personally because I do think we missed something in defense, and right now we need him back there as well. It's shit right now with injuries too. It sucks. He probably could. He's got the ability on the ball. He can get about the pitch a bit. But it is what it is, man. Stephanie says, early live likes are very welcome. I do appreciate that, you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe. I'm going to leave it there. If you weren't able to catch the live, you're watching later on, feel free to leave your comment with your prediction, your 11, your opinions on some of the manager stuff. I do always check those comments, and I do try to respond to each and every one, so make sure to do that. There is a link in the description. You can go back and watch that video where Dylan and I talk about 8 different manager options. It is a couple months old, but it never helps. I mean, it never hurts to go back and look. So, yeah, it's true, Bexy. We do have more center backs now. It's a good point. So, good shout. Wouldn't surprise me. I don't see us doing it. I don't think managers like to do stuff that extreme, if that makes sense. I'm not saying it's not a good idea. I don't know if managers like to change that much. So, but we'll see. I could be wrong. So 55 votes. Appreciate that, you guys. 85% of you are calling for a Burnley win. Somebody decided to vote for a draw. I don't know about that, but I'm going to end it there, you guys. Take it easy. Enjoy your day. Hopefully we're talking about 3 points tomorrow, and I will see you guys on the next one. Later.